Zanto Nyanjin Morzo, Don Hemijan, Zon Malam Jimborga Gata, Bakardargam Zanto Sherman, Tumba de Jejan Laki Jamzor Gonja, Tuji Chima Jirka, Tiansania Samzomba, maybe Rinzin Tumja Zala Zoran de Chinazan, Yangzi Zor. Natural Zernijan comes, Jor Dictation Loyal. Jimmy Benzoja la Sorande, Gonjir Toban Povera Shingilo.
Today I will talk about a very prayer to Guru Padmasambhava. It can also be called a prayer text, quite sacred and meaningful, or it can be referred to as a brief biography of Guru Padmasambhava. In Tibetan, we refer to it as Pema Kathang, and the term Pema specifically signifies Padmasambhava, a revered figure. Kathang translates to biography or life story. Therefore, in a general sense, Pema Kathang comprehensively refers to the life of Padmasambhava, detailing his significant existence. You could certainly say that in Tibetan area, it is truly a household name. Buddhists in the West also attach great importance to this. This includes the comprehensive biography of Guru Padmasambhava, as well as the comprehensive biography of the revered Dakini Yeshe Tsogyal. These are all highly valued and deeply cherished works. Today, this can also be considered a supplication to Guru Rinpoche. It is a brief biography of Guru Rinpoche. This was composed by His Holiness Jigme Phuntsok Rinpoche. I will briefly talk about the circumstances under which His Holiness Jigme Phuntsok Rinpoche composed it. I'd like to briefly share this with everyone here. This is also basically the same as the sacred Guru Padmasambhava practice we discussed yesterday together. In essence, they are fundamentally the same, actually always. That is to say, on July 27, 1990, very clearly and precisely, at that time we embarked on a memorable journey to Chandigarh, a prominent city located in northern India, clearly. Situated in close proximity to Chandigarh, there is another notable city nearby, and not far from there one can find the serene and picturesque Lotus Lake quite remarkably. This truly beautiful Lotus Lake is actually this location is also a profoundly sacred site where the revered Guru Padmasambhava once manifested various extraordinary and miraculous powers. Generally, and especially for devoted Vajrayana Buddhists, it is considered particularly important and spiritually beneficial to make a pilgrimage to this significant place. That year, we ourselves embarked on a meaningful pilgrimage to the beautiful Lotus Lake. Originally, when His Holiness went to India, His Holiness also said that this time he would also set aside many conceptual debates, meaning that we would approach it in the manner of a true and proper pilgrimage, which is relatively simple and quite easy to do indeed for anyone. Only a small group of people would typically go to some sacred sites for pilgrimage, usually nowadays. But as I recall, there were actually quite a few people who went that day, remarkably enough. Because when we went to Lotus Lake that time first, let me talk about Lotus Lake in detail. Its area is not particularly large, really, comparatively speaking. It is precisely located in Saho, which is still commonly referred to as Saho even now. Saho should be a relatively serene and picturesque region. There are still some charming and quaint scattered villages nestled within its landscapes even now. The place is also exceptionally beautiful, boasting breathtaking natural scenery and a tranquil atmosphere. If you look from the lakeside, it seems quite big, clearly enough. But if you look from a distance far away, the lake is actually not that big. It's just that kind of lake. In the future, when we go on pilgrimage, hopefully, this is still very truly important indeed. When we went there that day, at first, we visited the Mahayana Bodhi Forest Monastery of the revered Paliul tradition, which was conveniently located nearby. After that, we then proceeded to the beautiful Lotus Lake. As I distinctly recall, on that particular day, His Holiness usually preferred fewer people around him. But on that particular day, for some reason, many nearby monasteries and a lot of Buddhists, especially people from Tibetan Buddhism, many of them found out about it. And after they knew, there were quite a lot of people who went that particular day. When we went to the Lotus Lake, I once deliberately counted the approximate number of people. At that time, there were indeed about 42 cars present. The group making the sacred pilgrimage with His Holiness had a rather extensive convoy of 42 cars. These cars weren't especially good ones, just the very typical cars you'd typically find in India at that time indeed. I also took a few memorable photos, which I still proudly have now. Sometimes when we took a short, much-needed break in the middle of our activities, especially when we found ourselves stuck in the heavy traffic on the bustling street, that's when I seized the opportunity to capture some of those memorable photos. These photos were taken just before we finally reached the serene and sacred lake, a truly peaceful scene on our journey. I took them casually during our short breaks. But back then, the photo resolution wasn't particularly very good, quite honestly speaking. Then, after we arrived there successfully that day, since it was already very late afternoon, we actually stayed at a charming guest house. Not really a hotel, you see, when the conditions weren't very good. There was a particular place nearby, more like a traditional inn, a welcoming establishment. His Holiness had just settled in. The original plan was to settle in comfortably, have a delicious meal, and then proceed for the pilgrimage. But just as we had settled in, His Holiness suddenly said that Guru Rinpoche had arrived, and then at that time, His Holiness was still in very good health, so he was standing. It seemed there was a small wooden staircase. He immediately ran down the stairs barefoot, with a sense of urgency. Some of us devotedly followed His Holiness. Some people carried some stuff, including the master's specific shoes. At that exact time, what do you call those flip-flops, these slippers? In India, His Holiness basically wore those kinds of shoes. When we arrived in Nepal, we began wearing these specific kinds of comfortable slippers. I distinctly remember the experience of carefully carrying His Holiness's slippers and then having to run quite quickly to catch up with him. I eventually managed to reach him right in the middle of the road, which was more like a busy street or a thoroughfare, a rather narrow street. After passing it, there was the Lotus Lake. Actually, we lived quite close by. I don't know what that place was called. I thought about it that day. I just couldn't quite remember the name of that inn right now somehow. Anyway, the Lotus Lake was over there, and we were staying on this side very conveniently. There was a street in between, and once you crossed it, you were there quite easily, actually. So when we eventually arrived at that particular location, His Holiness reverently prostrated himself towards the tranquil lake. After completing this act of prostration, he then began to sing a spiritual song. Throughout this entire experience, we still diligently carried a reliable tape recorder with us, so we carefully recorded it as well. After the recording, His Holiness performed it all in one continuous go. We have meticulously arranged for it today as well. In just a moment, we will now recite this once. Usually when His Holiness sang it, it was also the popular biography of Guru Padmasambhava in Tibetan area, and he had his own unique melody for it. He would often sing it in this particular style. After he had completely finished the song, it was already recorded on a physical tape. It hadn't yet been formally transcribed into a written text. At that particular time, His Holiness seemed very delighted. At that precise moment, there was a beautiful lotus root situated in the serene lake. Some people affectionately called it a lotus stake. It is said that when Guru Padmasambhava manifested miraculous powers back then, the lotus root on which he sat on the lotus, there were also some tangled tree roots and muddy water inside clearly visible right then. All of it seemed to turn into a small mysterious island somehow. Normally you wouldn't be able to see this kind of thing at all, really. It stays submerged in the lake, completely hidden most certainly. Sometimes during festivals, they say it appears on the surface of the lake, but at that time, at first, it was very far away. Later, to everyone's surprise, it seemed to miraculously and steadily start drifting closer. There were approximately 200 of us gathered there at that particular moment. Then, after everyone present had clearly seen it, some people started calling out. It was still an incredibly rare and unprecedented sight. Some said this was a lotus pedestal, and it was extremely blessed. At that time, it was also mentioned in the biography of Guru Padmasambhava. After Guru Padmasambhava displayed his miraculous powers, it seems that the people of Kashmir were indeed the first to offer a warm cup of tea to him. They offered their most cherished possessions, some exquisite jewelry, bracelets, and earrings. These precious items were all things they habitually and reverently threw onto the lotus root, a long-standing practice. At that time, His Holiness threw a kata, and after he did, the lotus pedestal slowly drifted over again quite mysteriously then. Everyone felt it was extremely rare and precious. His Holiness also appeared especially joyful at that moment, most remarkably. Generally speaking, His Holiness was not particularly proactive about letting people take photos. But at that particular time, he enthusiastically said, "Come everyone, please come over here and kindly take a memorable photo." First, His Holiness, the wish-fulfilling jewel himself, took a few beautiful photos right by the tranquil side of the serene lotus lake. His Holiness personally took a few photos himself. Then he asked all of us to take a group photo together, so very kindly. Because there were quite a lot of pilgrims at that time present there. There were also a very small number of Indians, but the vast majority were devoted monastics from the rich tradition of Tibetan Buddhism, and there were also some dedicated lay people present. According to their usual custom in India, when it comes to lay people, whether it's taking photos or enjoying a meal, they are usually positioned discreetly at the back. In contrast, the monastics would always be prominently at the front first. Carefully observing and looking at our cherished photos, Lama Menso, and also, yes, they were all in the photo right there, perfectly clearly visible. After we finished taking the photo, everyone recited the aspiration of Samantabhadra together with deep reverence, very sincerely, loudly. I don't remember very clearly what exactly was recited at the very beginning of the session, but we recited the aspiration of Samantabhadra by the lotus lake. Everyone present seemed to be filled with a sense of joy and happiness. At that very moment, His Holiness, with his immense wisdom, composed such a remarkable Vajra song. We often all feel that this extraordinary composition is, in essence, His Holiness's own deeply insightful brief biography of Guru Rinpoche, because it is part of the biography. Actually, the entire biography of Guru Rinpoche is quite extensive. But at that time, when Guru Rinpoche manifested miraculous powers, this special story was already described here. So nowadays, whether it's the Lama's brief biography of Guru Rinpoche or the prayer to Guru Rinpoche, they are very popular throughout Tibetan area, most certainly indeed. Even now in the West as well, it seems that many different Dharma centers, everyone is reciting it, everyone is praying with great faith and dedication. Many dedicated practitioners also truly include it in their own daily recitation collections, and they pray every single day. Here we can act thoughtfully and precisely according to our own individual circumstances. If we possess strong faith and a deep spiritual conviction, we might also, in the foreseeable future, at various different Dharma centers, or even individually within the comfort of our own homes, often chant and recite this kind of biography of Guru Rinpoche. As for this kind of supplication to Guru Rinpoche, it truly brings great benefit to your family, your life, and your work. It is extremely beneficial in all these aspects. This is an absolutely inconceivable and profound power of interdependent origination. Later on, we can also thoroughly explain some of the intricate principles behind this. For now, let's first give a simple, literal explanation very carefully today indeed. Otherwise, many people say that I start off too broadly and then end up rushing through the later parts too quickly. So I'll first go through this supplication. Let's all go through it together, word by word, because some Tibetan verses are somewhat different from Chinese or English versions. Since the number of syllables in Tibetan is fixed, and this is a crucial aspect of their structure, if you translate it into Chinese and use too many words or make it too colloquial, it seems to lose the poetic quality of a verse, its inherent beauty. But if it's too brief, the meaning might not be very easy to understand. However, generally, after being translated into Chinese, if there is no explanation, some verses are also quite difficult to interpret on your own. Of course, it's the same with Tibetan. In Tibetan, if some verses truly lack a proper lineage, or if someone doesn't really understand the intricate methods of poetic composition, then it becomes quite challenging. Some Tibetan verses are also quite hard to understand. In this particular respect, there isn't really much of a difference. So, regarding the profound verses of His Holiness, the Precious Guru, as presented in this brief biography of Guru Rinpoche, some parts are indeed a little bit difficult to fully understand. Therefore, today, let us all try our best to understand them quite literally. Here, it first starts with the sacred word emaho. This significant term, emaho, is very commonly found at the very beginning of many of our important liturgies and spiritual practices, or at the start of some recitation texts. It's often used as an opening phrase or an introductory statement. It's a kind of exclamation, and also, just like in Chinese, we have expressions such as how wonderful or how marvelous. It serves a very similar function and purpose. Actually, it's a way to call upon the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and also to invite all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, the enlightened ones. It's this kind of exclamatory word. It means that Guru Rinpoche, the supreme embodiment of boundless and profound great compassion, possesses an immense, mother-like, and all-encompassing compassion for each and every sentient being across all realms of existence. Such a magnificent and benevolent emanation, Guru Rinpoche, you consistently demonstrate deep concern and unwavering care for us sentient beings who are currently living in this particularly challenging and degenerate age, offering guidance and solace. Guru Rinpoche possesses truly incomparable wisdom, a profound wisdom that comprehensively comprehends both the apparent and the ultimate nature of all phenomena. Furthermore, he also possesses the remarkable ability to greatly benefit and compassionately liberate countless sentient beings. We all know that he embodies immense great compassion, boundless wisdom, and incredible power. These three are truly the very unique and special qualities of all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Such a noble being, that is the Vidyadhara Guru Rinpoche, because Guru Rinpoche attained the Vidyadhara fruition as taught in Vajrayana Buddhism very precisely, actually. As for Vidyadhara, anyone who has studied Vajrayana knows that there are 4 types of Vidyadhara mentioned quite extensively there. The Vidyadhara of longevity being the first, longevity, spontaneous presence, Mahamudra, and maturation. Wow, that's truly impressive. You have accurately named all 4 distinct types of Vidyadhara. I honestly can't keep up anymore with such brilliant insights. You all are absolutely amazing. We pray before the revered Guru Rinpoche, who has attained the supreme fruition of Vidyadhara, and after praying, he graciously blesses us, bestowing his profound blessings so that all inner, outer, and secret obstacles are completely dissolved into the pure Dharma realm. This is how we pray. After praying to Guru Rinpoche, there is something we seek, right? So what is it that we seek? It is that our external obstacles, whether they are the elements of earth, water, fire, or wind outside, or all kinds of things in the external world, all the various external obstacles you encounter in your daily life, as well as internal obstacles. Internally, it could be that your mind is unable to cope, such as anxiety, fear, sadness, or lack of energy. Some of our Dharma friends often say these days, I can't continue with my study and contemplation anymore. There's absolutely no real motivation, no genuine feeling at all, indeed. These are some significant internal obstacles that we currently face. Then, as for secret obstacles, they occur when we try to realize the non-dual nature of awareness and emptiness, but are unable due to various hindrances. There are afflictive obstacles, cognitive obstacles, habitual tendencies, many kinds of obstacles. If there are all these obstacles, these are also a kind of adversity. So when we pray to Guru Rinpoche, what we're really doing is invoking blessings upon our own mind streams. Once all the inner, outer, and secret obstacles are eliminated, then the excellent and flawless results of Dharma and worldly affairs will manifest. Here, Dharma refers to our spiritual achievements in Buddhist practice and realization. Worldly affairs generally refers to matters of governance, such as political power and other worldly matters. Or you could say Dharma refers to transcendental matters. while worldly affairs are mundane matters, both worldly and transcendental matters. All of these things, without leaving anything at all out, all the excellent virtues and wholesome aspirations. Since everyone has different wishes and personal preferences, some people like this, while others prefer that. Each and every person truly has their own unique aspirations. By sincerely praying to Guru Padmasambhava, one can seek guidance. We can dispel all kinds of obstacles in our lives, work and studies, and all sorts of adversities we encounter in life. In actual fact, eliminating these various obstacles is extremely important. Some of these are truly external obstacles. Some are what we commonly call internal obstacles. For some people, it seems like in their hearts, what is not an obstacle at all for most people can be, for a certain person or a certain type of person, a very significant obstacle. They just can't seem to get past it. These kinds of obstacles also require the blessings of Guru Rinpoche to overcome, so that all these obstacles can completely disappear. On this point, I also sincerely hope that everyone present here, especially those who often feel that when facing significant and daunting obstacles, they just can't seem to get through them or endure the immense pressure at such challenging and critical times. If you wholeheartedly and sincerely pray to Guru Padmasambhava, it truly produces very obvious and profound results. This is something that, in daily life, is my own personal and deeply felt experience, a truth I have come to know firsthand. Maybe you believe it, maybe you don't. It's fine if you don't believe it. But I am sincerely sharing this with all of you from the bottom of my heart. In my own personal life, every time I encounter significant difficulties and challenges, whether it is within my spiritual practice or when there are certain specific obstacles and issues that arise, cloud-like shadows hanging over my life. When they appear before me, I do my utmost with all my strength and sincerity to pray to Guru Padmasambhava, whether it's reciting sacred mantras or chanting these profound verses imbued with the immense power of truth afterwards. It seems that in a very short period of time, these lingering shadows are just like when the bright sun gently comes out. Those ephemeral shadows disappear in virtually no time at all, completely and utterly vanishing into the vast and boundless expanse of the profound Dharma realm, leaving no trace behind. When I was very young, during my formative years back in the beautiful and serene land of Tibetan area, my homeland, you might not know this, but it is true that we were once nomads. Every year, we would set up our spacious tents, a cherished tradition observed once a year. When we were making these distinctive black tents, they would choose an auspicious date for this very important event. Every single year, the very top strip of the tent would be replaced. So each year, a new strip would be added to the tent very carefully then. The bottom strip would no longer be used at all whatsoever. A fresh new strip would be added in the middle. This is what we call making a tent, quite traditionally speaking, always. For them, this is a very important and truly significant event. Sometimes, even if the chosen date is very auspicious, the tent would still unexpectedly collapse. After it collapses, you have to carefully add a completely new strip. That black material, what is it called properly speaking? Those strips, one by one, what are they called by locals in Chinese? It's like black pulu, a type of Tibetan woolen fabric, most beautifully woven indeed. A felt, right? It really takes a long time to meticulously set it up, It's quite a detailed process. Basically, it takes about half a day. But if it rains quite heavily during that time, you see all the household belongings are out there. There's nothing on the grassland. For them, it's a big deal. It's almost like a disaster. Everything from the house is brought outside. Everyone is outside as well. If it hails, it's going to be quite miserable indeed. So every time they set up their large outdoor tent, they ask me to offer a heartfelt prayer that it absolutely will not rain, hoping for clear skies. My job is to carefully hold a small dark black prayer wheel and keep it steady. I sit down beside them, and then I begin the practice of reciting the sacred Guru Rinpoche mantra. When ominous dark clouds start to appear in the sky, I immediately blow on them with all the strength and intensity I can muster, and remarkably, it genuinely seems to have a positive effect and actually works. Consequently, some of our immediate neighbors who live very close by, when they set up their tents, also ask me to ward off the rain quite urgently then. I would confidently go over and chant there as well, very powerfully and effectively always. But as far as I remember, I always felt like there shouldn't be any problem. Sometimes the weather is great in the morning, but by noon or the afternoon, when dark clouds appear, I still do my best to chant. Last year, or maybe the year before, during Children's Day on June 1st, while the energetic kids were joyfully dancing, it truly looked like it was about to rain quite heavily. They then kindly asked me to give a heartfelt blessing. Some Dharma friends also told me to bless it. I thought to myself, when I was little, it actually seemed to work. Whether it was real or not, I don't know either. So now I just quietly and reverently recite some sacred Guru Rinpoche mantras. In secluded places where others cannot easily see, I silently and gently blow upon them. But later on, it really seemed, maybe it was just my own thoughts, that in a short time the sun came out very brightly actually. Our entire Children's Day dance event on June 1st went extremely well and successfully, completely. So sometimes through prayer with great faith and dedication, it works. But in the future, don't mention it and don't come looking for me. Otherwise, if it doesn't work out, my so-called miracles will ultimately be exposed as completely ineffective. But seriously, I am not joking about this in the slightest. I still really and truly hope that sometimes, through sincere and heartfelt prayer, if we pray in our lives, just like His Holiness mentioned earlier, for certain specific things that we truly need or genuinely want to accomplish in our lives, we can also humbly ask Guru Rinpoche for his compassionate help and guidance. And it does work. When we encounter obstacles in life, these obstacles can also be dissolved into the expanse of the Dharma. This represents the initial and fundamental layer of meaning. Subsequently, the text continues to articulate, and the content presented here explicitly states that the revered Guru Rinpoche was not brought into existence from the impure seeds of ordinary worldly parents. But rather, when the king at that time, King Indrabhuti, embarked on a journey to the vast ocean to seek valuable treasures, he discovered within the depths of the serene lake or the expansive sea. Guru Rinpoche was born on a lotus flower. That is why he is called Padmasambhava, the lotus-born. So he is known as the self-arisen lotus-born Guru. He was not born from parents. Instead, the revered Padmasambhava once, according to ancient traditions, was burned alive by the ruthless king of Sahor. At that critical time during the intense burning, the four fundamental great elements, specifically earth, water, fire, and wind, each presented significant dangers. Because it was fire that was burning him, it was the fire element among the four great elements that was burning him. But at that particular time, regarding the significant harm stemming from the four great elements, he profoundly manifested the brilliant splendor of the profound wisdom of inseparable awareness and emptiness. Not only did it not cause any harm to his physical body, but his spiritual practice and the profound wisdom of inseparable awareness and emptiness became even more remarkably apparent and clear. The act of burning him actually became even more truly magnificent and even more wondrous. In the end, in the center of the lake of the 8 great qualities, with lotus flowers of various colors blooming so vibrantly, lotus leaves, petals, and fruits floating so serenely, perhaps the lotus pods, all adorning the center of the flower most exquisitely and symbolically representing purity divine, Padmasambhava appeared within the heart of this flower. And within this flower's center, he also manifested a body of truly extraordinary auspicious marks and splendor, with even more magnificent and wondrous auspicious qualities. At that time, in the majestic posture of a king gracefully dancing, he sat upon the sacred lotus. At this precise moment, the entire vast sea of fire miraculously transformed into the tranquil, present lake water. Moreover, all those present, every single person gathered here at that significant time, were profoundly affected. Including the king of Sahor, the monarchs, and the ministers, they all developed boundless faith. This profound faith was likened to a vast, boundless ocean, an ocean with surging waves most powerfully moving, the rising and swelling of the ocean's waves quite dramatically. That was actually beyond containment, meaning that at that particular time, these ministers, because the king of Sahor had clearly intended to burn him to death, not only did he fail to harm him, but it truly even turned into a sea of beautiful lotuses. All these ministers have developed a very strong faith, and this vast ocean of faith could not be contained within the continuum of their minds, meaning it was impossible to contain, because inwardly we were especially moved. And when we truly develop such strong faith, even our very outward appearance changes significantly. They put their palms together in reverence, and this gesture is like the petals of a lotus flower. These delicate and beautiful, exquisite petals, in a very short period of time, adorned prominently on top of each and every one of their heads, just like a topknot. They wore it on their heads like a fleshy crown, quite deliberately and purposefully positioned. Every single person, whether a minister or even a king for that matter, as well as other commoners and their families, when they personally witnessed this truly real and impactful scene, each person's faith was uncontrollable, unable to be fully contained within their mind streams or understanding, as if the ocean itself were overflowing. Each of them had their own lotus petal-like palms, joined together very reverently and peacefully. Everyone had something above their own heads. All together, sometimes we have certain performances most skillfully and harmoniously. Everyone was bowing to him in this respectful and reverent way. So, what exactly does this particular section describe in detail? At that significant time, Guru Padmasambhava manifested a peaceful and serene form, because below he also had a wrathful aspect to benefit sentient beings. This section says that he displayed miraculous powers in a peaceful manner, at that time most compassionately indeed, benefiting countless sentient beings. I believe many people here are already familiar with this story quite well, actually, but I'll briefly talk about it here as well for everyone's benefit today. I'm not very good at telling stories, but I'll give it a try anyway, because telling a story now and then sometimes makes it less likely for individuals to experience drowsiness or feel sleepy, and less likely to become distracted by their own wandering thoughts or internal musings. If there were no stories presented at all, and the entire class session was solely focused on very profound and complex research topics. No matter how well it's explained, some people just can't take it in. Sometimes it's scriptural proof, sometimes it's logical reasoning, sometimes it's analysis, sometimes it's debate. Maybe the speaker has this ability, but as for the listeners, sometimes their minds tend to wander. Sometimes it's just really hard for it to truly sink in. This often happens. So sometimes when it is necessary, at times, we talk about the lives of great masters, eminent monks, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas. Actually, by doing this quite deliberately and mindfully, we also develop faith through this approach. And in our own lives, we can also gain a lot of insights from it most profoundly and meaningfully. So what is this story about? At that time, Guru Padmasambhava, this revered spiritual master, is the subject of this discussion. Among the 8 principal manifestations of Guru Rinpoche, the precious master, this particular manifestation is known as Padmakara, which translates to the Lotus King, a significant and powerful form. And the biography composed by His Holiness is also a bit different from some other biographies. Here, there is also the revered Sangye Dradul, who is known as the Lion's Roar Padmasambhava. Both of them are mentioned here. Of course, some are at the Vajra seat and other places, and there are different accounts in various biographies. Of course, the manifestations that appear to each sentient being are different, so all of these can be explained. Therefore, we have some peaceful manifestations, wrathful manifestations. These are all included. It should be said that this is a truly very complete and comprehensive story. Sometimes, of course, worldly beings are often unwilling to truly see wrathful forms. So if all the Buddha images that they devoutly worship are peaceful and truly serene, this is a kind of mindset of certain sentient beings, and the manifestations are shown accordingly. As for the true Buddha, in fact, before different sentient beings, he also manifests in different ways. Just like us, no one spends their whole life always smiling. Such people don't exist. Some people mostly display wrathful expressions, while others are mostly peaceful in appearance. But if you have both peacefulness and wrath, perhaps your life is more complete and well-rounded. Otherwise, if you only say this person is very compassionate, then your life might not be as complete and well-rounded as it truly could be. Maybe in front of certain people he is compassionate, but for some others, they might say, wow, you don't know, he's very compassionate in front of others. But among his own inner circle, he's actually quite fierce. This includes some of our own gurus, and when others comment on them, it's the same. Isn't a certain teacher supposed to be very compassionate? When he is giving his teachings, he is extremely compassionate in front of others, just like the Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara or the Buddha Shakyamuni. Some people say, you don't know. He's not like that at all. He's always especially compassionate and understanding in front of others, showing great empathy and kindness. But he can be really fierce. I know this person loses his temper. So it's the same with Guru Padmasambhava. Sometimes he appears compassionate, but in front of mischievous or unruly beings, he manifests a wrathful aspect. Perhaps that might be much easier for them to readily accept. This actually quite perfectly fits with the way things truly work in the modern world nowadays. Anything in the present day, at different times and in different places, quite naturally indeed, it can manifest in multiple dimensions. From many perspectives of knowledge, this is also the case through direct experience and observation. So sometimes some people might think to themselves, oh, why are there these wrathful forms in Buddhism? That's so very scary. Isn't Buddhism supposed to be very compassionate? This way of thinking is correct in one sense. Indeed, in Buddhism, no matter the situation, we always advocate compassion. But in some cases, it is indeed very difficult to transform sentient beings with compassion alone. This is something everyone should be aware of and understand. Back then, the revered Guru Padmasambhava was at Vulture Peak in India, a place of great spiritual significance. The sacred place where Shakyamuni Buddha profoundly turned the Dharma wheel for the second time, deeply meditating. While he was meditating, he made a solemn vow. Where should I go now to benefit sentient beings? Where is the place that would be even more beneficial for sentient beings? As he was deeply contemplating this in his pure and profound vision, a clear voice said, "You should go to the sacred country of Sahor, which is located not far from the revered Vajra seat in the ancient land of India. In the blessed country of Sahor, you will be able to benefit countless sentient beings significantly." At that very moment, what kind of place was the country of Sahor? Actually, the country of Sahor was a truly and remarkably beautiful place. The king possessed immense wealth and significant power, holding both vast riches, considerable merit, and undeniable authority. It was an especially prosperous and flourishing country. However, many of the king's consorts had unfortunately not borne any children, which was a matter of concern within the royal household. There was, however, only one particular consort who gave birth to a beautiful and cherished princess named Mandarava, bringing a ray of hope and happiness to the kingdom. Mandarava is a Sanskrit word, and it is indeed the name of a beautiful and significant flower found in India. She was also a truly indeed manifested Dakini. She should have already attained realization, a Dakini of such accomplishment. Moreover, after this Dakini was born, she was destined to be great. Mandarava was also a princess after all. After her birth, many auspicious and truly remarkable signs appeared throughout the entire kingdom. Moreover, she grew up at an exceptionally and surprisingly fast rate. One day for her was equivalent to more than a full month for others. What would normally take an ordinary person a whole year to grow and develop, she accomplished within a week. In just a really very short period of time, she became a fully grown adult. At this time, she was not only exceptionally kind-hearted and compassionate, but also remarkably and strikingly beautiful. Many powerful kings, influential ministers, and esteemed officials from various neighboring small countries, each with their own significant realms, all eagerly vied to formally propose marriage to the venerable King Sahor. Their fervent desire was for his beloved daughter, Mandarava, to become their respective queen consort. At that time, according to certain Indian traditions, it was originally the king who would make the ultimate decision. It seems that even now things are still very much like this. The parents must make the decision. This is also certainly the case in some other important matters as well. Parents decide the lifelong affairs of their children quite traditionally in many cultures, whether it's a big deal or not. Who knows? But here, people often call it a lifelong affair, most significantly and seriously indeed. So everyone treats it as something very important. In the end, when things don't work out, people are especially heartbroken. Actually, sometimes our media, habits, and traditions. It seems that in Tibetan area, people don't call it a big affair. Anyway, when it comes to significant lifelong matters, they don't call it a big affair. Whether or not they discuss these lifelong matters seems uncertain. At that time, it was supposed to be the king who made the decision. But if the king chose one particular country above others, he would offend the other countries. So at that time, he just really couldn't make a decision. He was caught in a dilemma and found it extremely difficult. In the end, he handed this authority over to the princess herself. This did not conform to their traditions, but he gave her the power to decide for herself. He let her make the decision on her own. When it came time for her to choose for herself, Princess Mandarava truly did not want to get married at all, indeed. She wanted to practice and meditate in a quiet, peaceful place. She did not want to enter into the endless cycle of samsara, the continuous cycle of existence. In the end, the king also agreed. He even built a special meditation retreat for her, located not far from the grand palace. He also thoughtfully arranged for 500 palace maids to practice together with her in this serene setting. The benevolent king had already given his full consent to these arrangements. At this particular time, one day in the celestial realm, amidst swirling, vibrant rainbows, Guru Padmasambhava manifested truly miraculous and astonishing powers. When the palace maids saw this incredible sight, because of some very special karmic conditions and profound blessings, at that time Mandarava and the palace maids with her prayed for Guru Padmasambhava to descend. Then, relying on his truly miraculous powers, Guru Padmasambhava gracefully descended into their secluded retreat center. He diligently taught these women the profound, uncommon inner tantric teachings, including many essential instructions on the generation and completion stages of practice. He turned the wheel of Dharma for them within the inner realm of the Dakinis. At that very moment, there was a young shepherd boy. His cow had gone missing, so he went there to look for it. Eventually, he arrived near the monastery, quite cautiously and quietly. He heard the voices of some men coming from inside, echoing softly. It was the sound of teaching the Dharma. At first, he wondered if he had misheard. He listened much more carefully and intently as he gradually got closer once again. And indeed, that was the case. At that time, if the princess was there, everyone would be paying close attention. Then the shepherd boy went back to the village. The news spread from 1 person to 10, from 10 to 100. Eventually, it reached all the way to the royal palace. When the king heard this news, he was extremely angry, absolutely furious. He thought, I've already offended so many other kings. I just wanted her to practice in peace and tranquility. Now, if something like this happens again, it would be a truly great humiliation for me as the reigning king. So he immediately began to issue orders to his loyal soldiers and trusted ministers to go and punish them, to mete out punishment quite harshly, actually. This mighty procession finally arrived at the peaceful retreat after much traveling. At that time, Guru Padmasambhava was teaching the Dharma to them very peacefully. Although they didn't witness any impure conduct or improper behavior whatsoever, they still followed the king's strict orders. First, they forcibly dragged Guru Padmasambhava down from the sacred Dharma throne. Then, without hesitation, they began to tie him up and bind him. At this moment, Mandarava, the Dakini, also spoke up. I beg my royal father not to punish us, because the compassionate master, Guru Rinpoche, has been teaching the supreme Dharma leading to enlightenment in this life. He has not engaged in even the slightest impure conduct with any of us at any time ever whatsoever. She pleaded with the king to release him from his confinement. Of course, the soldiers paid absolutely no attention whatsoever to any of this at all. In the end, with a sudden and forceful movement, they seized Guru Rinpoche, binding him tightly with ropes and forcibly taking him away from the scene. Simultaneously, they also apprehended the royal princess, leading her to a desolate prison cell where she was unjustly confined, far from the comforts and freedom of her palace. At that time, it seems the sentence was for about 25 years. The other palace maids were sentenced to 10 years and then handed over to them accordingly. The king was also angry. He felt he truly needed to give a comprehensive explanation to all the people. He then ordered that every single household in the entire country must gather firewood without exception. He wanted to do it in a place where everyone could see, to give the people an explanation. 7 days later, they planned to burn Guru Padmasambhava alive. Then, after 7 days, they were ready to proceed with their plan. We saw that the lake was so vast. In that place, every family brought a substantial amount of firewood, as the powerful king had explicitly ordered. The king then sternly demanded that upon this towering pile of firewood, the revered Guru Padmasambhava be tragically sentenced to death. They would completely burn his body with fire. It seemed to be the 10th day of a certain month at that particular time. On that fateful 10th day, they began to meticulously carry out his predetermined death sentence. Intense, raging fires were lit from all directions, engulfing the surroundings. After the inferno was burning fiercely, everyone present thought he must have been completely and utterly incinerated. At that precise moment, the entire vast sea of fire suddenly and miraculously turned into a tranquil, shimmering lake, a pure lake of the 8 auspicious qualities. Then Guru Padmasambhava appeared in the center, within the heart of a lotus flower, sitting in the regal royal dance posture, looking even more wondrous and truly majestic, appearing gracefully before everyone in a form of perfect beauty and completeness. At that moment, all the ministers and all the soldiers present, those police and security officers who were present at the scene, were extremely and profoundly frightened, experiencing a palpable sense of dread. They hurried quickly to the royal palace to report the unexpected thing that had just occurred. At first, the king did not believe the report. Later, the king went to the scene himself. When the king arrived at the scene in person, he wondered if his eyes were playing tricks on him or something else was going on. He hesitated for quite a while, but eventually he realized that this had truly happened. At that very moment, the king was filled with profound regret and deep sorrow. He humbly prostrated himself on the ground, sincerely repenting to Guru Padmasambhava. He earnestly begged for forgiveness and mercy. Then he himself issued an order, clearly saying, "All the affairs of state of my Sahor kingdom, all the people, all the valuable treasures and immense wealth, are to be offered entirely to Guru Padmasambhava." At that time, Guru Padmasambhava's body and all his clothes had been completely burned away, but his body itself was not burned. Then the king took from the royal treasury all the special and significant items belonging to the king, including the royal garments and the ornate lotus hat, which were symbols of his esteemed authority. At that time, the liberation through seeing lotus hat was the king's crown. This is indeed truly accurate, even up to the present day and time. In places like Afghanistan and many of the countries in northern India at that particular time, the king's magnificent golden crown is still like this, even now in the present day. Aren't there 3 types of lotus hats? One is the deer ear hat, another is the lotus bud hat. When Guru Padmasambhava was born, when Guru Padmasambhava went to the 8 great charnel grounds, the Dakini gave this hat to Guru Padmasambhava. What we are specifically talking about here is the significant liberation through seeing lotus hat. At that particular time, the king personally took the precious lotus hat from the royal treasury, as well as the magnificent cloak that the king himself frequently wore, and indeed all of the other splendid royal attire, and offered them all to Guru Padmasambhava. Guru Padmasambhava also said, "You should know, king, that in fact my physical body is not harmed or affected by the 4 fundamental elements. I have already attained the profound state of neither coming into existence nor going from it. However, I assure you, I do not need any of your kingdom's vast wealth or material possessions. I am only here to guide you with the profound Dharma." At that very moment, the wise king graciously summoned all the people throughout the entire land to come before the revered Lotus Master and attentively listen to the sacred teachings. He released his beloved princess and all of the palace maids. The Lotus Master then stayed in the land of Sehor for a significant period of time. Some historical accounts say it was 13 years, while others say it was not that long. There are different versions in the historical records, but in any case he stayed there for a long time. He meticulously taught them the profound Mahayana Dharma and also diligently imparted intricate esoteric teachings. Later, an immense multitude, numbering well over 100,000 beings, residing throughout the entire land of Sahor, all attained the unshakable realization of Vidyadhara. This included the respected king of Sahor himself, who also attained significant realization there. Eventually, all these beings attained realization. Everyone's understanding and perspectives in all aspects led to a deep and unwavering faith in Guru Padmasambhava. Later, Mandarava, the Dakini, and Guru Padmasambhava journeyed to Nepal's what is now known as Nepal. At that time, His Holiness was unable to go. When we went to Nepal, we really wanted to go as well. But at that time, it was said that the weather was bad, according to reports. Was it really because of bad weather? Maybe it was because we didn't have enough funds at the time to proceed properly. Looking back now, I'm not sure about anything then, because at that time the helicopter was very expensive. When we arrived, we didn't make it to Maratika. Now it seems that many people go there, but if you go, the journey is quite far. Guru Padmasambhava and Mandarava did a 3-month retreat there. After 3 months, they attained the realization of Vidyadhara, of immortality. Guru Padmasambhava achieved the rainbow body accomplishment. That is to say, as a Vidyadhara of immortality, the physical body will completely never be destroyed. This is a rather unique attainment enlightenment within the profound teachings of Vajrayana Buddhism. So basically, that is the full story here. As for how King Saho tried to burn him at the time, and how Guru Padmasambhava displayed miraculous powers, although the historical accounts differ, I've basically included some of the different versions quite thoughtfully and carefully. Perhaps this way it's more suitable. When I was very young, I often grew up reading the biographies of Guru Rinpoche with great fascination. Back then, even when I basically couldn't really read yet very well at all, I would often be on some mountain or in the woods, always carrying a biography of Guru Padmasambhava with me. At that time, if I had a smartphone like we do now, with some audio features, it would have been great. Because back then, I didn't really know Tibetan very well, but I really wanted to learn. And on the mountain, there were some people who had previously been monks, and whenever I saw them, I would often run over to them and ask them to tell me stories about Guru Padmasambhava. Some of them told the stories really quite well. But now, all of these revered individuals have already passed away. So, I actually possess several distinct versions of Guru Padmasambhava's profound stories. There should still be a considerable collection of these precious narratives preserved within the vast treasury of my wisdom books. I am merely and briefly sharing this particular kind of insightful information. Here we have a truly inspiring story about the peaceful aspect. Guru Padmasambhava, in his serene, peaceful form, greatly benefited sentient beings in this remarkable way. At that time, among the 8 manifestations of Guru Rinpoche, he was called the Lotus King. We're talking about Padmakara. Among the 8 manifestations of Guru Rinpoche, there is one called Padmakara. That day was Dorje Drolo, and this one is Padmakara. Actually, for each of Guru Padmasambhava's more important 8 manifestations, each significant miraculous display is regarded as one of his important stories. So among the 8 manifestations of Guru Rinpoche, this should be the profound and inspiring story of Padmakara, who is widely known as the Lotus King. Next, the following is a significant and detailed account of him powerfully manifesting in a wrathful form. His Holiness recited it in a very short time. It is indeed very rare. So I really do quite like this kind of verse. I might not have recited the Tibetan earlier, so I will recite it now at this particular moment.
대체 듣당 샤면쇼 현재는 대체 듣당 말딱 란진소 nga르지기 리스톱 칠때디 또 조르는 나자랑다 짱자나 칸조 적모 상동 제르기 고르 찌슴 찍찌르는 비 에르노네 홍 파자이 특듬 그 르짓 그르베 든더면 바침부 그르장데 점처 롱림 치르들 nom보이 페르굿 르덕 사피 롤 아잔나루 냔적나루 득스ම රාඥම්ෂි 대체 사블런 코플 하르남지 승계 자족지빔 상소르위 치위치암 곤섬 담바나 논진 부문 척베 마탁바르 다르장 컨잔 담바진데 제 데트른 통면 마한거이 지당 적부 로진 범적근 띠칭온병 nem쪽 캬버전 곤섬 그 같은 제르위 그 이치 기총 가위까지입제 마프주 얼른덤 준비 람네 도르 잠축 치킨 조금 마르통와 판뎀 춘리 딜레 메요르 제르지르 도르제 담자 거르라나 딱동 참맘녀르드 나무름 조드 제제제
Wow, today's teacup is even more incredibly beautiful and exquisitely crafted. Don't change it, I'm just joking, that definitely won't work, as it's already perfectly fine. Look, this is theirs, never mind. I won't say anything further or elaborate. At this significant and profound moment, just like when the Buddha attained ultimate enlightenment, a multitude of various demonic beings and malevolent forces also appeared. Various demon kings, demonic beings, and non-Buddhists, These are all metaphorically referred to as elephants. This is because in India, the elephant is a being with very great power and significance. There are many metaphors involving elephants. They are powerful, arrogant, and physically strong, among other qualities very commonly recognized by many, because that's the nature of elephants themselves. The meaning is that the non-Buddhists and demonic beings were very rampant at that time. Their power was extremely formidable. Such elephants extend their long trunks of evil deeds. That is to say, elephants will stretch out their trunks, and these non-Buddhists and demonic beings manifested all sorts of cunning and truly evil forces with the clear intention to cause significant harm. Because when Guru Rinpoche was displaying such miraculous powers, there is the saying, when the way rises a foot, the demon rises 10. All kinds of demonic obstacles and adverse conditions appeared. At that time, the Dakini lion-faced Dakini, also known as Simhamukha, appeared. Simhamukha often appears during Guru Rinpoche's process of attaining realization. When we previously discussed the 7-line prayer, at that time it was also a treasure casket of Simhamukha, quite remarkably speaking. Guru Padmasambhava used this to display miraculous powers and used mantras to subdue the non-Buddhists most successfully. So at that time, so many non-Buddhists appeared to harm him from all different directions constantly in various threatening ways. In other words, from a metaphorical perspective, it was as if at that moment a particularly terrifying elephant appeared. Because an elephant's powerful trunk often destroys houses, wild elephants, they often say this, these magnificent creatures often kill. Such a formidable elephant appeared, or perhaps a real elephant appeared, we simply don't know for certain. In all of His Holiness metaphors, it is like this. At this moment, the lion-faced Dakini, she could instantly swallow the power of the entire 3 realms. Or to put it another way, with such power, then, with the distinct and resonant sound of hum pat, with this powerful and evocative sound, she truly began to inspire the profound mind of Guru Padmasambhava. Because when the immense and overwhelming might of such an elephant appeared at that time, the powerful lion-faced Dakini was invoked. Actually, even now, at our esteemed institute, we diligently and constantly recite the sacred lion-faced Dakini and the potent Vajrayogini mantras. These are profoundly significant and exceptionally important Dakinis, revered for their profound spiritual power and protective qualities. At the time when Guru Rinpoche attained realization, she used a power as if she could swallow the entire 3 realms, or with the might to swallow the whole 3 realms, she recited Hum Pat. At that time, from the mouth of the lion-faced Dakini, as if she could swallow an entire elephant, with the immense power to completely swallow the 3 vast realms of the entire world, she recited Pat and Hum. Hum hum pat pat. In many of our common subjugation mantras, hum hum pat pat often appears. This profound invocation, or you could say, this sacred act of inviting the enlightened mind of Guru Rinpoche, when she devoutly recited hum hum fat pat, she manifested a great, equal and pure body to subdue these hordes of demons, a body of great equality and great purity. In fact, this truly refers to the great lion, and of course this is not at all obvious in either the Tibetan or Chinese languages. But that is the profound and true meaning. After the powerful lion-faced Dakini invoked in this significant way, he appeared. Guru Padmasambhava's body began to appear in the formidable form of a powerful lion. Now, as for this magnificent lion, it possesses incredibly sharp claws and very keen, sharp teeth. This is essentially to let the revered Guru Padmasambhava, she requested Guru Padmasambhava, to manifest the Dharma teachings before the non-Buddhists and the hordes of demons. Because debates needed to be held in front of the non-Buddhists, using Dharma logic to engage in debate. And in front of some of the demon hordes, debates might also be necessary. But more importantly, it was to display various miraculous powers. Here, the miraculous powers and the Dharma teachings are likened to sharp teeth, the lion's teeth. Because the lion has both claws and sharp teeth, very sharp and powerful, and in this way most effectively and naturally in the end, he subdued all of them without any difficulty or struggle, completely and utterly, always indeed then. After completely subduing them, what exactly does he then enjoy? Generally, after the powerful lion has hunted and killed its chosen prey, it will then proceed with its next actions. It truly enjoys eating the meat. So using this kind of analogy, we can understand that it means truly enjoying the abundant spoils from those he has decisively defeated, the truly delicious and sumptuous feast of the food of his numerous enemies and fearsome demons, and also of wild and untamed beasts. Of course, this doesn't actually mean that at that particular time, the revered Guru Padmasambhava intentionally killed many innocent people through direct battle and then ate them. This is not the meaning. But after successfully subduing them, he truly enjoys a grand and magnificent feast with truly delicious food, which is indeed the profound charm of the Dharma. Because after he had completely subdued them, just as we extensively discussed yesterday, the 5 aggregates net of these sentient beings should be fully liberated into the pure and sacred Dharma realm. At this very moment, this is truly the greatest feast in our worldly sense. It's not as many people nowadays mistakenly think that the most truly delicious things are either this succulent meat or that exquisite dish or perhaps some delightful kind of soup, but for a truly accomplished and seasoned practitioner, the everyday food of this world is not necessarily considered the real, ultimate delicacy. It should be that after these sentient beings are liberated, they experience the joy of liberation, the nourishment of liberation. This is truly the supreme, most exquisite and incredibly delicious food indeed. At that particular time, he took the powerful form of a lion to effectively subdue these sentient beings. After this significant event, this good reputation, the sound of the lion's roar resounded throughout the entire 3 realms. At this very moment, all the heavenly beings above, in the vast and boundless sky, everyone unanimously praised together, reverently calling Padmasambhava the lion's roar. The lion's roar, on one hand, relies on the blessings of Vajravarahi, the Dakini, and when the conditions of Hum Pat are fully present, Padmasambhava manifests a wrathful form, subduing all kinds of heretics and demonic beings, and then emits this kind of a resonant sound. So why is it called the lion's roar? Padmasambhava's lion's roar also has such a cause and condition. Now, within His Holiness realization, it also took place here at the Lotus Lake. In fact, with our naked eyes, we may not necessarily see it, but perhaps it can be seen. At that time, He also subdued numerous heretics and evil demonic beings. However, whether they were considered heretics or followers of other distinct religions, it is said to be the Sikh religion. Actually, in that place, Sikhs are quite numerous. They are called turban. They never ever cut their hair throughout their entire lives. All of it is wrapped up in a white cloth. This is quite common around the region of Chandigarh. Many of them also often say the term guru. The word guru specifically refers to their spiritual teacher. Padmasambhava is also widely regarded as one of their significant teachers. As for whether they truly acknowledge the historical narrative of being subdued, it remains somewhat unclear. However, many Sikhs profoundly believe this to be the case. Furthermore, Padmasambhava is also considered a very important and revered lineage master for them. This particularly includes some ancient caves in Nepal where Padmasambhava is famously said to have manifested extraordinary miraculous powers. Other sects and other religious groups also regard him also as their spiritual leader. He is said to have displayed various kinds of miracles here. There are also historical accounts of him subduing various beings that were indeed harmful to their sacred teachings. So in India, Nepal, and Kashmir, there are many significant sacred sites located in these places. People from various and diverse religious sects all firmly believe that their own revered patriarchs performed truly great and significant deeds there. It is widely said that they manifested many remarkable and profound activities in those sacred places. Sometimes the miraculous manifestations of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are also inconceivable. The karmic power and karmic experiences of sentient beings are also beyond comprehension. Therefore, there can be all kinds of different displays and dances. There can be various kinds. So we also cannot conclude that he is indeed the only true person with valid cognition manifesting clearly before us. This is also a significant perspective found within our own tradition. But in reality, especially in the world as it is today, there may be all sorts of different viewpoints. This is also quite reasonable. However, every individual sect, every distinct school of thought still places a significant emphasis on their own cherished tradition and consistently highlights their own deeply revered teachers. This too is entirely reasonable. It's not just us Buddhists. If you observe and consider any established religion, the great and revered masters of that specific religious lineage, or even the dedicated and devout followers of that particular faith, they will all, in numerous and diverse ways, demonstrate and express fundamental truths to praise their own tradition. Perhaps we humans are just like this as well. Whether it's about ethnicity or nation, even within families, as long as someone likes me, we'll say things like, well, our family this, our family that. If someone criticizes my family, I get very upset. If someone says something about our monastery, I get very upset too. This is greed, anger, and ignorance, a common trait among all humans. You could say that it's a particular kind of affliction. Sometimes when there are significant differences between various sects or disagreements, these are also clearly manifested in this manner. So sometimes even within our own circles, we need to understand and grasp the unique characteristics of our own tradition. However, at the same time, it is also essential for us to acknowledge that in this complex world, there may indeed be many different perspectives originating from various angles and multiple dimensions. We should humbly and openly accept this reality as well. This might actually be necessary. So what are we going to talk about next? The above was about Guru Padmasambhava's peaceful and wrathful miraculous powers, which are truly extraordinary and awe-inspiring, demonstrating his profound spiritual attainment. Next, His Holiness employs a rather poetic and somewhat exaggerated technique to vividly describe this profound experience in a decorative and elaborate manner, truly enriching the narrative. He says, among those who manifest directly, he is the supreme of the supreme. People have already directly witnessed this with their very own eyes. Among us human beings, this is truly a great and extraordinary kind of action. He successfully subdued all kinds of hostile spirits and even powerful kings and their entire retinues. Such a supreme among the supreme, these truly great and significant deeds appeared in the ancient country of Sahor at that particular time. The earth is often likened to a truly beautiful woman. If the earth is indeed a beautiful woman, then even her delicate shoulders can hardly bear the immense weight and burden. She is almost unable to endure it. Witnessing something so truly extraordinary, sometimes we say, it's just very too painful, that even the earth might crack open. It probably carries that meaning as well. When such a great undertaking appears, then as a beautiful woman, the earth finds it hard to support it. As for the earth itself, its trembling and the moans it emits are interwoven quite hauntingly and melodiously. If the earth is a beautiful woman, whether it's the sounds she makes in her ancient wisdom and grace, quite mysteriously, all of her actions, such things will occur. This is a kind of imagery commonly found in poetics. For example, when the merit is too great, even the earth cannot even truly bear it. Or when the suffering is so very intense indeed, it feels as if the sky is about to collapse. We have very similar expressions and analogous concepts in our world as well. So for the earth, it is incredibly hard to accept this because it is far too heavy. Even the earth itself cannot support its immense weight. There is a sense of trembling, a sense of moaning, something like that. Such is the incomparable great master, Guru Padmasambhava. He manifested countless truly peaceful and wrathful dances and displays, showcasing his divine power and profound presence. Here, countless means very many, because earlier we mentioned a peaceful display, and also a very wrathful display. All of these things, at the very same time, most simultaneously, were revealed at the Lotus Lake. What His Holiness means is his wrathful manifestations and his peaceful manifestations at the same time were displayed at that sacred place, the Lotus Lake in all its divine glory. Becoming a direct vision, His Holiness has directly seen such a Lotus Lake with perfect clarity and understanding. When he attained such a joyous feast, that youthful consciousness, that is to say, His Holiness's own mind, his true and inner being most pure and luminous always, was like a child, a young boy full of pure innocence, and was extremely delighted, especially joyful. Then he began to dance gracefully with divine movements and steps. What he means is, upon seeing such a sacred place, upon witnessing the joyous feast of the Lotus Lake, this feeling of joy, his own consciousness, He had just enthusiastically started to dance and sing with a powerful voice. As for his dancing, perhaps that was a profound reflection of His Holiness's inner state of mind at that moment. Then, with great emotion, he raised his voice and sang this truly genuine and heartfelt song. He sang out loud, his voice resonating with profound authenticity. This song was a truly genuine and heartfelt expression, not a fabricated or artificial one. It was a melody that naturally flowed forth from within him, effortlessly and organically. A period might be more appropriate here. What it means is, when I saw such a lotus lake, my heart was filled with great joy, and then I naturally and effortlessly sang this beautiful song. And it happened in a very short time as well. It was sung just like when we recite the supplication to Guru Padmasambhava. Next there comes a heartfelt supplication to the revered Guru Rinpoche. He says, "To you, the supreme object of refuge, Guru Padmasambhava, your enlightened activities within the three realms will never become outdated or obsolete. Moreover, this particular part could be slightly revised, perhaps even subtly, to better reflect the current context." I just took a look at it. "By your own sacred Vajra words, you have made a solemn vow. We humbly supplicate you to swiftly and fully manifest all the auspicious signs." This way, it might be a little bit better. The profound vow made by your own powerful Vajra words, and then the supplication to swiftly manifest. Of these two manifestations, one can be omitted. "We supplicate you to swiftly manifest all of the divine and wondrous signs." His Holiness said, "Guru Padmasambhava, within the three realms, your enlightened activities for the benefit of beings will never become outdated." There's no such thing as not benefiting sentient beings. It's not like those who do volunteer work. I've been doing this for 3 years. Can you consider it for me? Otherwise, I'm getting old. My heart isn't good. It's pounding all day long. Could you please have some compassion and care for me in this difficult time of suffering? I've already done volunteer work for 4 years, for 5 years now most sincerely, and continuously always. I've already been benefiting sentient beings. I've been leading a class for 8 years now. Now, can I please stop leading this entire class? Please, I implore you, let me go. Some of our esteemed Dharma teachers who are truly dedicated seem to think that turning the Dharma wheel and leading a class is a great hardship. But Guru Padmasambhava has truly always been like this. For countless years, countless eons, there is never a time when he finishes. What did he promise? He personally made a vow with Vajra words. He said, "Until samsara is empty, I will benefit countless sentient beings." He has always been like this. Unlike us, who do volunteer work for 3 years, some people haven't even reached 3 years or 3 months, and they're already saying, "I can't do it, I have a headache, can I go down the mountain?" It's not like that. So here, His Holiness says, "Your enlightened activities in the vast three realms are unceasing. The sacred vow you made with your own Vajra words is like this. So today, we humbly supplicate and earnestly pray to you that before all sentient beings, you must manifest all the signs you originally promised. You already agreed to this before. So please fulfill what you have promised as soon as it is possible. Do not keep delaying any longer. That is precisely the point. Whatever signs you need to manifest, it's all possible, whether it's health, wealth, or anything else." Later, His Holiness says, "Especially for us, the people of the snowy land of Tibetan area, the most supreme spiritual leaders, eminent monks and great masters, as well as some ordinary people and layfolk, all of these individuals, without any prior arrangement, are united in heart, demonstrating a deep spiritual connection. Day and night, we constantly remember and earnestly pray to you, our revered Master, Guru Padmasambhava. And when we pray, we do so with sincere reverence and respect. It is with deep sorrow and truly heartfelt emotion, calling out to you with great intensity. Since you possess great love and deep compassion, how could you possibly ignore us? I pray to you every single day, yet I feel nothing at all. How could that be? Even ordinary people in the world, if I pray to them repeatedly, would be moved at least a little. How could you, Guru Padmasambhava, after all these years of my prayers, not even appear to me in a single solitary dream? Now, may you truly and powerfully manifest the incredible power of your great and boundless compassion, and bestow empowerment and blessings upon me, who has faith, as I pray to Guru Padmasambhava. May the great masters who uphold the Dharma in this world live long. May the true Dharma flourish in the world. May all beings find happiness and practice the true Dharma. May all beings be happy and also practice the true Dharma. And may all the positive results we seek in this life, whatever wishes each and every sentient being may have, whatever aspirations or hopes they may deeply hold within their hearts, may each and every one of these cherished aspirations be fulfilled, and may they all be fully and perfectly attained.
This profound prayer, this sacred text, was composed with deep spiritual inspiration and devotion during a most blessed and transformative spiritual pilgrimage to the sacred Lotus Lake in India, Ngawang Lodro Chongme, extemporaneously, meaning spoken spontaneously and off the cuff with pure clarity in a moment. It was recorded and transcribed into text by the disciple Namju. This one was put into writing by Khenpo Namchap. The one from yesterday was written by me, but His Holiness did not write my name. Because when we went to India, it depends on Khenpo Namchap. They prayed His Holiness to visit there. So it doesn't matter if my name wasn't written, because when writing text, the small characters at the back were also confirmed by His Holiness. For example, what to do? He said the following text, "We did not add it ourselves at all, in fact. Therefore, Khenpo Namchup still attaches great importance to this particular place." Good. This is precisely how this prayer is to be understood. Now, after this, I will briefly say a few additional words. All the esteemed Dharma friends who are attending this teaching session here today, everyone has profound faith in Guru Rinpoche. Many are truly Vajra brothers and sisters. Today, I want to carefully raise and discuss 2 or perhaps even 3 important points. The first and most significant point is this: no matter who you truly are, whether you are a dedicated Vajra friend or simply a like-minded individual who shares similar spiritual aspirations and is a fellow Buddhist, internal unity is important and truly essential, whether you are in the esteemed presence of a certain revered guru or engaging in meaningful interactions with various others, including every single class we diligently have. All the Dharma friends who study together, we should sincerely integrate and harmonize with everyone. As for myself, the Dharma friends around me who have done a lot volunteer work are indeed relatively very united. No matter what we are doing, internally things are quite good. Externally, it's also quite good. We are dedicated practitioners who are diligently studying Mahayana Buddhism, a profound and comprehensive spiritual path. Sometimes when we try to benefit sentient beings, there are certain difficulties, but at the very least we are able to tame our mind streams, and with the people around us, with those who share our views and actions, as well as those who have different views and behaviors from ours, we should always have a certain attitude toward humanity, using peaceful means to resolve all problems. So, the essential unity among everyone present here is vital. In fact, unity itself is truly a form of peace. This peace, many of us talk about world peace, but world peace is too grand a concept. First and foremost, it should be inner peace within ourselves. Then among the people around you, everyone should avoid conflicts. I often notice, for example, when a few people are around me, whether there is conflict between these two people, whether there is tension in their words, or perhaps something in their expressions. I often pay attention to things like this. Many people around me are like this too. They are quite perceptive. At least in the places I observe, if someone isn't smiling, then simply just give a smile. If you're not really feeling it inside, you still have to, even if you have to pretend, everyone should truly always strive to maintain peace. That's precisely how it is indeed. So this can be just on the surface as well. But we don't really need to be superficial. What truly matters is from the very heart, whether it's with fellow practitioners, including within families. I also hope that many families can be peaceful and avoid arguments. Don't be intolerant of things between your parents or between siblings. Now it's like karma is manifesting. Many people are becoming more and more intolerant of those around them. This is a particularly negative phenomenon because the peace of the whole world, at its smallest unit, is our family. If families are not peaceful, the world cannot be peaceful. In the end, the world will also eventually descend into great chaos. If all families are in discord, how can there be true and lasting peace in the entire world? Therefore, I sincerely hope that in every single group, we can all be at peace. If we look at some of the people around certain gurus, and they are all scheming against each other, you can immediately see that this guru is suffering a lot. If the people around him are all genuinely peaceful from the bottom of their hearts, what conclusion do we come to in our hearts? That this guru could also be very happy. You see, there is absolutely no conflict among those individuals around him, no major wars, no civil wars, no external wars, no cold wars, no hot wars. It's actually quite good and peaceful. This is the very first point I want to raise today. If you want to listen to my words, I hope it will be genuine, not just on the surface. It should come from the heart, and everyone should work towards peace together. That's the first point. Now, the second point. Earlier I said it would be 21 minutes, and now it seems that our time together is almost completely up. The second important point to consider is this. Every single Mahayana Buddhist should develop a truly great aspiration for the future. Don't spend every day just thinking about your own afflictions, your own suffering, your own practice. Don't be like that. As for the Dharma, let's see how it can continue on in the future. For example, if there are 10 people here, we should think about how these 10 people can promote the Dharma in the future. We should consider having a practice center and what kind of methods we can use. Everyone should look further ahead and stand at a higher vantage point. We should truly try to minimize our selfishness and self-interest and even strive to make them disappear completely. Sometimes, as Buddhists, we are called to reflect deeply on these principles. It seems that we don't even think about the greater goal of spreading the Dharma and benefiting sentient beings. We don't consider these aspects at all. Everyone just talks about their own afflictions. When I study and take attendance, I always think this way. What we should really be thinking about is how our practice center can move forward together. You see, some wise people at certain practice centers, they always think first about how our center can continue for 100 or even 200 years. This is very beneficial for sentient beings. This Dharma truly benefits sentient beings. Some places lack this mindset, but some places do have it. I hope that no matter where you are from, you will all think about establishing the Dharma in this world and spreading it throughout this world. Having such a vast and expansive mind, this is very important. Don't spend all day talking and acting with everything revolving around your own personal afflictions and self-interest. If you do that, you probably won't live happily either. And on top of that, you might not be able to accomplish anything. That's why many practice centers end up disappearing in the end. So when we talk about our so-called practice center, as long as there are conditions for study and contemplation, even if it's just 2 people or even 1 person, that's enough. From a long-term perspective, how can we truly keep this going on? This is about generating a vast aspiration. Today, the second important thing I truly want to talk about is this. And third, everyone should practice diligently and always be joyful. Right now, most people, unfortunately, are not. Many people think to themselves, I'm not doing well now. When I meet some Dharma friends, they say, Mark, please don't mention my practice. My practice is really, really bad. Everyone gets very anxious. Actually, there's no need to be like this. I think most people are doing quite well in their practice. You didn't used to study Buddhism, but now you do. Even though you might be busy and have a lot of afflictions, at the very least you read books and listen to teachings. In many respects, I am actually quite satisfied. Even those of you who are the laziest, I still think you are remarkable. At least you yourself know I am the laziest. So, when I truly look at each and every person, I see hope. I haven't seen anyone without Buddha nature or without hope. Not a single one have I seen. So it's not that anyone is without hope. You shouldn't belittle yourself or give in to laziness. This is what is called belittling oneself and being lazy. I definitely can't do it. I'm such a bad person, such an evil person. When I look at our world now, there are some special people with disabilities. And they have such great resolve, such great diligence. So for those of us who have all 6 faculties intact, why do we belittle ourselves like this? There's no need for it. Everyone should still keep their spirits high. We should always be diligent and work hard in our daily lives with genuine effort and commitment. Having confidence in yourself, being self-assured, is very important. This is my final thought for today. I've talked about these 3 essential and fundamental points. And next, today, I just spoke about the brief biography of Guru Rinpoche. In the future, whether we're at home or in our personal meditation rooms, we should be able to recite it. First of all, at our Larangar Lay Practitioners Center, which is a significant location, some time ago they recited and spoke aloud their words. Some lay people recited a version of the brief biography of Guru Rinpoche. I'm not sure if the video can be played. If it can, I'll show it to everyone. This is precisely how they meticulously recite the profound brief biography of Guru Rinpoche. These individuals are relatively young people. They are certainly not intellectuals, but rather, in all likelihood, some humble herders from the mountains. They did this spontaneously on their own. There were probably several hundred people reciting the Guru Rinpoche biography together. Because by reciting the Guru Rinpoche biography, the weather becomes favorable and harmonious, and in many ways it is very meaningful. I also hope that in the future, in various places, we can spread such truly powerful voices through this kind of chanting. Just like in the secular world, what we often call warding off all evil and keeping away all obstacles. Today we also currently have both Tibetan and Chinese languages spoken here. We will also recite for everyone respectively what we are discussing today, which is the brief biography of Guru Rinpoche composed by His Holiness Jigme Phuntsok Rinpoche. This is how the chant is recited. First, we will recite it in Tibetan.
Ma kisar dong bola yam sanam chukwa ngudni pamam joni jis jam khortam khandu mangbu koran cheji jis dagdab shinji lob shir shaghz sol gar palma sada da ho nim jagan dar shambala dam jag dagla wam je kar gardam lom jen var chalas chadam tham ngudb zol ma hon banzarangar pamma thom cham chalan banzar samayanza sud phala hon ai ma ho gongji the je chengap de par kam chen chi ni sam chong ba me ba ji rim zan thom cham chalap sorwan dev shan sang var che yang sul Chudang jala je lagam so mali parim jim ngon tam jar varab shinje lo ngon se rap sham surchi dorje nyala zahor jala po som chang zapasi jongji no pari tong jan ta shara tang sala yan lagab jadan so chin ris lon din jin je pa bi chim karam chan zo khwe shalan ze pa karanam se Dekora jeb lonan depa jam so ye tap gayo wa konta ma shoni pshatsin zalan dari wa kam seram surji tap ton ta ji me par cher te seb da ta mar ta lang chen so ngar jel jag pa le ton ship te te bjor nga na jag rang tap jang za nam khan do jag mo sang dong jer ji bur Jasam jib charang pe long ne hom pala dai the tam je kala vi dam dala nyam ba chembu karb jan te zam chal long rim chip dar nom bo ye pe golara da sa pe san la ro la nyan chang nga ro jasam ram nyam shim te che sa la nan ko pi la na ma ji sang ge da do jibun sam so la vi chewa ngon sam tam ba nam nor zan ba mon tang tang ma go par Darjang khan yanda jara te tar chom mel ma hangar ye bjatang jaga por sam bam chaga kana te chingom be nem chaga chapar chana ngon sam me ka gatan jerp ka ba ye chi chip chong ga vi kar chip chada ma julam dan jan bi lam ni dol cham chog chel jin do kham mar tong var phan dim chan li te li ma yo da va jari je dor ji tam cha kwel la na Tagdang Sama Nirta Navaram Zola Chaparara Re Kawa Jamba Ye Jamgun Cho Tang Bangman Tataga Kana Mabjuglo Sima Chit Jerpanga Nimsalangan the Origin Jipjana Ne Menga Doi Jagpumbo Pandam Tizichan Chichi Tangim Jogpola Tamantani Teji Nipasashon La Mutana Dala, one corruption yellow, Tamzan Jaftana, Tamba Shopcher, Jim, Jokan Dejan, Chula Japa, Riva Tap, Tagan, Wantan Jervaram Zolo, Dorjito, Hona Jaftana Japan, Jabagin, Dim, Palasha Tamba, Taran Kolo Jim, Dagatan Jerva, Tambayer, Nipper Jashi Joy.
All right, next, let's try reciting it in Chinese and see how it goes.
上笔，空心十年怒不空。论事吞下三有戒，以弘法生动尊行。其前强复大德神，身边教理历史状。相助反方也受参，每定后生真善友。一世上空诸天人，称扬黎明狮子吼。贤良贤士尊中尊，大地美女艰难成。传统神音相交织，如是无等大上师。千万计梦有无息，一时展现之圣地。成为亲见其言时，一同欢喜变其物。领航长驰无为歌，生归出音三界中。立生事业不越时，金口金刚与世持。天行出现诸言相，有其我等诸学语。最胜一呼诸民众，不谋而合同一心。日夜随念莲师尊，悲切深情梦呼唤。待如其之故里，尽发大悲之威力。观定加持具心我，是教大德救主师。正法心生于十方，众生安乐心正法。显现一切所求过。
The melody in Chinese is a bit unique, and it might need to be adjusted and refined in the future. Of course, today is indeed the very first time we've arranged this particular piece for everyone's enjoyment and appreciation. Perhaps there simply wasn't sufficient time to thoroughly practice or to comprehensively teach it to everyone involved. The melody for the Guru Rinpoche biography is truly quite unique and distinct. Perhaps in Chinese we should consider how to best express this. I might know a little about it, but unfortunately, my voice isn't very good for demonstrating such a special melody. In the future, those of us here with better and more trained melodious voices can recite it first. We'll share it with everyone when the right and appropriate time comes, maybe after a while. You all recite very diligently. But this melody is a bit... It's quite good. This is an auspicious connection. I hope we can take His Holiness's brief biography of Guru Rinpoche and do something with it in the future when the time comes. Like a chanting machine for reciting the Buddha's name to remove obstacles at home. It's very good. It truly has great and wonderful blessings. So, we should probably make some thorough preparations first. As for the specific details, we will certainly see in the future. We might still need to adjust its melody just a little bit. It's actually quite popular in Tibetan regions, so there really shouldn't be any problem at all whatsoever. Mainly, it might be the melody for the Chinese version in the future. Just now, I don't know who taught it to you all, but I must say it's truly not bad at all. In fact, it's impressive and has left a strong, positive impression on me. This is my very first time hearing something like this, and I find it to be unique. I am surprised and quite pleased by what I've just experienced. All right, I won't take up any more time. Everyone have a very good rest now. Let's now begin the dedication. The complete transmission has not been fully recited yet, has it? Yes, there's one specific part. There's a section at the end of the transmission, but some people have already, however, left.
Tamba chokcher jenroken dejan chulap shopai remrem tata mundu kirum zot jir nem chom sopa ma jan yong sa chapa tenyam ngusum de kirkab ngang lo chum some be torshung de somba kirlor namjur ji japam khorlo le yikir ko pa gewo
sonam de tamse khoba ya tona de jana pase kirgana je rano chupai Jabun Solen Radha
Bandangara Padmasambhava Bandangara Padmasambhava Bandangara Padmasambhava